with our assets imported, let's actually set up some folder structure here. So in assets, I'm going to come over here, right click, create a new folder. I'm going to call this 01 underscore scenes. And here's where we'll put our game scene. So I'm going to go over to Polygon City, and in their scenes, they have a demo. I'm going to take a look at this. They have things set up pretty nicely here. I would want to just copy and paste what they already have. So what I could do is with this scene selected, I can hit Control D on Windows or Command D on a Mac. And I could rename this by hitting F2. I'm going to call this level. And I'm going to put this in our scenes folder. Okay, so now this is where we want to be. So I double clicked on that. Now you can see up here, the name of our hierarchy is level, and that's what we have. So all these items are just kind of free flowing around. What we want to do is, first of all, we're going to get rid of our main camera for a second. I'm going to click here in the hierarchy, and I'm going to hit Control A. That selects everything. Now it's still holding Control. I'm going to deselect directional light by clicking. Now if I right click in here and create empty parent, what this is doing is it's putting all those things I had selected into an empty game object. And that just helps for organization. I left the directional light out because this game object will only have our environment. Okay, so that's just all the models and stuff for our environment. So with that set up, let's choose the parts of the city that our player is actually going to be interacting in. So for this, we're going to want to set up right here as the starting point. They should be able to go down this street, be able to collect some pickups, keep going down this street, turn here, and they should be able to go through the park or the parking lot. And at the other end, we'll say right here is the elevator that leads to the roof up there. And this is the safe point, the extraction point, where the helicopter picks them up and they can get out of here. So that's kind of the end of the game, right? So down here, we're going to have a little defend yourself from the Horde section. Otherwise, it's a pretty straight path. And what we'll do is all these other sections that are open, we'll close them off by putting some cars and invisible walls in the way just to keep the player on path. All right, so let's get that set up. What you could do is take these cars. So I'm going to select this, and you could just move them around, rotate them, maybe flip them upside down. Take this one, do the same thing, put it like right here. This one, flip it upside down, maybe put it against this wall. Doesn't have to be perfect, because what we'll do is we'll put the particle system in the way to cover it in fire. Okay, so this will be kind of sectioned off so the player can't go through here. And we'll put this dumpster. Okay, and then what you could do just for safety is I'm gonna create a new 3D object, cube, and I'll just have this cube called invisible wall. And we'll just stretch this out, make it taller. Okay, and we'll turn off the mesh collider so you can't see it, but the box collider will be there. Putting this on a different layer later, but otherwise, this is all we really need. Let's actually take this car and holding shift, I'm going to collect this car and this car and this car. And why not even the little dumpster. So with these selected, I'm just going to go ahead and move them all the way to the top up here. Okay, and then create empty parent. We'll call this wall of cars. And this way we can sort of duplicate it, make our lives a little easier. Let's put the invisible wall with them. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up here and put it in wall of cars. So this is a whole package that comes together. Now what we can do is we can duplicate this and put it around the areas that we don't want our player going. For a nice touch, we could put in the polygon particles, prefabs, and if I lower this down, we could just see the names of them. And we have effects big fire 1 through 3. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's what 1 looks like, that's what 2 looks like, and this is what 3 looks like. I think I'm more of a 3 kind of guy, so I'm gonna go ahead and line it up like this. And with it selected, if I hit Control D, it'll duplicate it. You can put another one here, duplicate it again, put another one there, and just put them all over here. And one more like right here. Okay, so now if I take all these, I'm just gonna collapse this really quick. Put it up here. So I can grab all of the fires now. Right click, create empty parent, call these wall of fire. And then in the environment, I'll put that in that wall of cars. So now this is all one package. All right, now we can duplicate this wall of carnage. If I have this wall of cars selected, I can hit Control D, duplicates it, and now I can put this, say, right here. So the player won't go over there either. And the fire does come with it. You just can't see the particle sim running right now. You can see particle sims by selecting them. They only run on the ones selected. So if you wanted to, you can do something like this. You select all of them. You can see them all running at the same time. Also, just to keep things a little easier, so I don't have to keep scrolling up and down this huge thing of items, what I'll do is create an empty, and I'll call this one city. And then what I'll do is I'll grab this first one and this last one and put them in city. Okay, minimize that. All of our environment pieces can be broken down into the city chunks, which is actual buildings and everything like that, as well as all of our little custom bits, like these walls of cars. Okay, so I'm gonna put some more walls of cars around here. Put this one right here. Put it right here. Just extend it a little bit. Okay, now you'll see that this bounding box actually goes a little further than that, and that would be kind of lame if the character couldn't run up these stairs. So I'm just gonna get this invisible wall, and I'm gonna scooch it back a little bit to line up with this car a little bit better, like that. And then honestly over here, you could just put a big fire, and you could scale it up, and maybe put an invisible wall there. Something like that. And sometimes you could just put a straight up invisible wall. It's a bit of an old, kind of outdated technique, but sure enough, it is still used. We'll call this one shameless invisible wall. Turn off the mesh render, so it's still there. And I think the last one I'll want to put down right here. So I'll take this first wall of cars, duplicate it, bring it up here, spin it around. Call this area an Easter egg. All right, put this shameless invisible wall back in our environment. And let's also put this big effects in here too. We'll parent this, they go together. All right, and this is a very simple layout that we'll have.